Manchester City, the footballing juggernaut, 4 consecutive Premier League titles, a treble in 22-23, a squad with world-class depth led by one of the greatest managers of all time, Pep Guardiola. But in 24-25, something went wrong, horribly wrong. City, for the first time in 7 years, ended the season with only a glorified pre-season trophy, the Community Shield. They were outclassed in the Premier League, humiliated in Europe, beaten in the FA Cup final. While their fiercest rivals lifted silverware and rose from the shadows, the citizens stagnated, and for the first time, Guardiola's throne didn't look so secure. This is the story of how Manchester City, a club built on dominance, faced its most disappointing season in nearly a decade. A season of exposed flaws, missed opportunities, and looming questions. With just one shot at securing their trophy, winning the Club World Cup is crucial. But why does it matter so much? That will soon become clear. But first, let's break down a truly surprising season for Pep Guardiola. City's season technically began on a high. In August 2024, they faced Man United in the FA Community Shield and came away with a win, 1-1 in normal time, 7-6 in a tense penalty shootout. Bernardo Silva equalised late on and Manuel Akinji slammed home the winning penalty. But that would be their only trophy. Historically, the Community Shield has rarely meant much, never seen as a major trophy and more of a warm-up to the new season. And in hindsight, this narrow victory only masked early signs of regression. Manchester City entered the 24-25 Premier League season as reigning champions, having just clinched an unprecedented 4th consecutive league title in the season prior. They finished the 23-24 campaign on 91 points, just edging out Arsenal, and had every reason to believe they could continue their dominance. But from the very first few weeks of the season, something was off. City's opening fixtures weren't terrible on paper, with 3 wins from their first 4 matches, but the performances lacked bite. The midfield, usually so assured and composed, looked vulnerable. The high press that had suffocated opponents in previous seasons felt one step slower. Kevin De Bruyne, coming back from injury, was clearly not at his best. Rodri suffered a long spell out with an ACL injury. Bernardo Silva looked tired, and without those engines running, City's machine sputtered. November brought their first major warning sign, a hammering by Tottenham in City's backyard. Not just a loss, an annihilation. Ange Postecoglou's Spurs picked City apart with vertical passing, quick transitions and relentless pressing. Guardiola, visibly frustrated, admitted after the match, "We have never lived in this kind of situation." That statement, rare from him, signalled that something deeper was brewing. The loss was followed by a poor run of results, 3-3 against Feyenoord, a 2-0 loss to Liverpool and a 2-1 loss against neighbours and arch-rivals Manchester United. In years past, City would have crushed those sides by sheer force of repetition and precision. Now they look fragile, the famed control was gone, the air of inevitability around them had evaporated. Erling Haaland, who had scored 36 league goals 2 seasons ago, was still hitting the net, but often in consolation or in matches that were already done and dusted. Defenders had started to figure him out. Boxed in, doubled up, without De Bruyne feeding him from the deep and wide, Haaland was isolated. He still ended the season with 19 league goals, respectable, but far below his expected output. By mid-January, City were in 5th. A mini resurgence pulled them back into the top 4, but the gap to Liverpool had already widened. Klopp's replacement, Arne Slot, had galvanised the Reds. Liverpool were playing fast, free-flowing football and, most importantly, winning big games. They beat City 2-0 at the Etihad in late February, a match that many saw as the definitive title decider. The gap extended to 10 points. City's defensive record also nosedived. They conceded 44 goals in the league, nearly double the amount they shipped in the 22-23 title-winning campaign. City finished the season 3rd, performing far below expectations. City's domestic cup performances in 24-25 were emblematic of their broader struggles. In the Carabao Cup, City were knocked out shockingly early in the fourth round, losing 2-0 to Spurs, a limp exit that denied them a trophy they had dominated in recent years, having won it 4 times under Guardiola. It was a lacklustre display, with a rotated squad failing to assert control and conceding twice in the first half. The FA Cup offered a glimmer of redemption as City battled their way to the final, only to suffer a stunning 1-0 defeat to Crystal Palace at Wembley. Despite dominating possession and creating more chances, they lacked sharpness in front of goal, missed a penalty and were undone by Eze's goal on the counter. Palace's victory marked their first ever major trophy, while City's defeat sealed a second consecutive FA Cup final loss and confirmed their first domestic cupless season since 2016. In the Champions League, City's fortress crumbled. They were drawn against Real Madrid in the playoff round, and what followed was humiliating. Over 2 legs, City were beaten 6-3 on aggregate, conceding 3 goals both home and away. For context, City had made the round of 16 or better in every Champions League campaign since 2014. This was their earliest exit in over a decade, a full 3 months before the final. This was a major blow to City's season. Pundits questioned whether City had become too predictable, and for the first time, some fans questioned whether Pep had finally run out of ideas. It's impossible to ignore the role injuries played this season, particularly in midfield. Rodri, the defensive metronome and arguably City's most important player, was out for nearly the entire season due to an ACL injury. Without him, City's balance was disrupted. They conceded more goals per game in his absence, and despite Pep's best efforts, no one else offered the same positional intelligence. Kevin De Bruyne also spent large parts of the season in and out of the squad. While his numbers of 4 goals and 7 assists were solid given limited minutes, the side was visibly flatter and less creative without him. City have played more football than any other team in Europe over the last 5 seasons. Deep runs in the Champions League, domestic cups and the intense pace of the Premier League, the cumulative load caught up. For a team that won 4 consecutive Premier League titles, it was only natural for them to decline. Add to this the psychological burden of having won everything in 2023, and you get a squad that perhaps subconsciously lacked hunger. Pep Guardiola has often been lauded for innovation, but in 24-25, his methods looked, dare we say it, predictable. Opponents seem to have figured out City's patterns. Teams like Spurs, Wolves and Palace sat deep and pounced in transition. The box midfield that once revolutionised the game was now vulnerable to quick counters. Guardiola occasionally tried to mix things up, using a 3 at the back, playing Foden deeper, but these tweaks were often reactive rather than proactive. City still dominated possession but lacked penetration. They were first in passes per game, but 5th in expected goals. The result? Sterile dominance. Lots of bark, not enough bite. It's hard to imagine Pep Guardiola being questioned, but this season he was. He faced criticism for over-rotating, for persisting with struggling players, for refusing to evolve, and for selling Julian Alvarez last summer. Haaland called the season horrific and boring, and Pep admitted that the criticism of his team was justified. I mean, this was City's first trophyless campaign since 2016-17. For a club that had won 15 major trophies in the last 7 years, this was seismic, and it was only normal for criticism to mount. The once untouchable Guardiola suddenly looked vulnerable, and although Pep recently signed a 2-year contract extension, many have voiced their concerns about whether this was the correct decision or not. And as the mounting pressure on Pep wasn't enough, Kevin De Bruyne, Man City's assist king and arguably their greatest ever midfielder, announced in April that he would not extend his contract. After 9 years, a Champions League, 6 league titles, 2 FA Cups, 5 League Cups and 119 Premier League assists, the Belgian maestro bowed out with grace. But his absence leaves a chasm. KDB dictated tempo, created magic out of thin air, and was Guardiola's most trusted lieutenant. Replacing him is not just a transfer task, it's a philosophical challenge. In preparation for the FIFA Club World Cup and the new season, City have moved with precision and ambition. So far, they've brought in Ryan Aït-Nouri, a dynamic left-back from Wolves, bringing both width and build-up fluency. Tijjani Reinders, the £46 million Dutch midfielder, known for his intelligent off-ball movement and goal-scoring threat. And perhaps the most prominent signing of the summer, Ryan Cherki, one of Ligue 1's brightest talents, a creative force capable of occupying the half spaces De Bruyne used to own. Cherki in particular represents City's post-KDB identity, inventive, unpredictable and young. He may not be a like-for-like replacement, but he symbolises the start of a new creative philosophy. With these signings completed by early June, City's squad arrived in the United States for the inaugural expanded FIFA Club World Cup, looking vastly different, hungrier, younger and with something to prove. Moreover, the timing of the Club World Cup couldn't have been better or more crucial. For Man City, it's a lifeline. After a trophyless domestic season and early Champions League exit, this tournament offers not only a chance at redemption, but an enormous financial incentive. Estimates suggest the winner of the tournament could earn up to $155 million in prize money. But for City, the reward is more than monetary, it's symbolic. It's a way to flip the narrative before the 25-26 season even begins. It's an opportunity to show the world what the future could hold for Manchester City. Manchester City's 24-25 season was disappointing to say the least, but City aren't a club that settles. With Pep at the helm, for now, and the new signings bedding in, the rebuild is already underway. The Club World Cup could be a launchpad. The Premier League and Champions League will be the real tests. So, what do you think? Was this just a blip or the beginning of the end for Guardiola's Manchester City? Can they bounce back next season and be as dominant as they used to be? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next one.